Hello everyone, welcome to the Charge Shot Gamescast. Each and every week, best friends from YouTube and Twitch gather around and talk about the news in gaming. We have with us today, like always, Justin.
Hi everyone.
And of course, our friendly neighborhood PC gamer, Lo.
Hey everyone. I also would have accepted friendly neighborhood black guy. That works too.
Random black guy.
Random black guy, there you go. Random black guy on the internet.
God damn it, I don't know where to go from here.
Did I give you the giggles, Thomas?
Just take the microphone away from me.
Just jump right in.
Alright, so this week, before we get into games, let's discuss what the hell's been going on in our lives. Justin, what has been going on in your life? Excellent response. Lo, what is going on in your life?
No, like I haven't done anything like out of the ordinary. More Final Fantasy VI, and mostly spent the week like trying to actually get all that solidified because I promised the cast by the first weekend in February, and it didn't really register that the 31st wasn't like a weekend, so I wouldn't actually have a full week to prepare all of that. So I was like, I cut off auditions by the 31st of January. And then basically had like a 3-day turnaround of trying to figure out the cast so I could get it up by this weekend. So I was like, well, crap, I haven't even finished the game yet. So yeah, I got that out this morning. I think everyone's mostly pleased. I haven't gotten all the responses back yet, but I think it'll be good. It'll be a fun project. So keep an eye out for that. But that's pretty much all I got. Also, we can congratulate Lo for his leading part if we want.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The resident bear now. That sounds weird.
I feel obligated to grow more hair now. That's pretty much the highlight of my week. I woke up this morning to find out that I got a part in the Final Fantasy VI story play. I am Sabin Figaro, the twin brother of Edgar Figaro. He's actually, it was funny because like, I woke up this morning because, Justin and I were talking last night. It's like, oh, do you want to like know ahead of time? I was like, no, I'll just wait. And then I woke up this morning and then first thing I see is a message on Twitter from Ryan. And then he's like, oh, you got Sabin. I was like, oh, I was like, oh, but cool though. Like the one time I don't want it spoiled for me, it gets spoiled right at the last second. It's all good though. It's all good. He was excited. He got Ultros, I believe. So
yeah,
I think that was a pretty good placement for him. Just considering just the way his voice sounds and everything. And he kind of has like, I feel like he would be a really good villain, especially like a silly one like Ultros.
Right. I mean, I heard his Kefka and I know he really wanted that, but like his Kefka sounded to me like what I want Ultros to sound like.
Right.
So it's like, okay, that's, best of both worlds. Like he gets to do that same voice basically, and I get a really good Ultros. So yeah, I hope he's okay with that. But
I haven't really been doing much. I've been just changing up my workout routine, and I also bought myself. People on the audio version can't see this, but I got myself a Kindle Paperwhite.
Isn't it only an audio version?
That's the joke.
Okay, I was gonna say, is the NSA watching me right now?
I was about to say I look terrible.
But no, it's like a neat little device. I wanted to get back into reading this year as well. It's basically like how everyone has their New Year's resolutions. I want to read more. I want to lose weight. I'm doing all of it now. And I started reading Masters of Doom. It's a pretty neat book. I learned a lot about John Romero and John Cormac. So yeah, not much has been going on my side other than those things.
Yeah, we do have a bit of a bare bones crew this week, to be fair. I mean, Mark's out sick because he caught the PAX pox, as he calls it, which sucks. I kind of wanted some PAX stories this week. I was banking on that because we didn't have anything going on.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then Cookie's out. Well, the Cookies, I should say. Elvia and Ray are moving, as they mentioned last week. So it's just us. You get our lovely voices.
I did finish Resident Evil, the first one, this week. But before we get into that, let me tell you all about this awesome website called Patreon.
Oh, Patreon. What's that?
Well, Patreon helps support podcasts like ours. Head on over to patreon.com/chargeshot and toss a couple dollars our way. You get amazing perks and early access to shows, videos, giveaways, and so much more. No money to spare? Then no problem. Just subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, give a 5-star rating, and share the podcast, share the love. So yeah, I finished Resident Evil, the first one, this week. I've been streaming that game over on my channel, Tainted Cane TV on Twitch. And I still think that game is pretty good. It ended off pretty great. Just someone throws you a rocket launcher and you shoot the bad guy with it and he blows up.
Is that how they end like all of their Resident Evil games?
It seems like it.
Because I heard about like 5, I think. Like Wesker's in a volcano, and like you have to like shoot a rocket into each of his eyes or something. Isn't that how 5 ends?
Yeah, you shoot Wesker, I think, in both eyes with rocket launchers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Like gameplay wise, 5, I liked it. But like story wise, I'm like, okay, this is kind of like weird. But all of the Resident Evils are kind of weird, to be honest. But
5 was that one where it was starting to get into the ridiculous area. It was still a fun co-op shooter, but it didn't leap off the edge or jump the shark like 6 did.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, 1's still a pretty good game. Like you think it's going to be just in this one mansion, but then it really opens up into like tunnels and labs and all different kind of fun horror stuff. Killing off sharks. Mutated sharks.
So they literally jumped the shark?
Yep. You literally jumped the shark in the first game. So not much to say there other than I finished that for the first time. Quite enjoyed it. It was a great Resident Evil game. And they made a bunch of others. I've yet to play 2 or 3. I want to try those out.
Very cool.
Do they have remasters of those? But
I don't think they have a remaster of 2. I think there was rumors they were going to make a remaster of 2.
Oh yeah, wasn't there like a fan? Like fans were going to make it, then Capcom shut it down and decided they were going to make their own?
I think so.
I think
that sounds about right.
Yeah. Let us know if that's right or not.
You can write in to thomas@chargeshot.com.
Or on Twitter @thechargeshot.
And then I've also played a game that Justin recommended me to play was Mega Man 2.5D. I streamed a little bit of that. It's a fan game. It takes all of the old assets from the old NES Mega Mans and made a new game. I'm not really hot on that. Like I played it a little bit, or I played it for a couple hours, I guess. And it's not just the difficulty is like insanely hard. I mean, that's what those games are known for. But there's like some bugs in it where you can shoot through walls and enemies can shoot through walls, like all the walls. And it has this weird, like, jarring 2.5D effect, no figure. I mean, it's named 2.5D. But it's a little bit jarring because it feels like the level isn't really real. It's just like you're watching a stage where there's all this papercraft going on. So when it switches perspective, it looks like someone made a paper box, like one of those puzzle boxes that are made out of paper or foam, those 3D puzzles. It doesn't feel like a real Mega Man game does, I guess.
That is a style, though. Have you played Super Paper Metroid on or not? What?
Paper Metroid? What?
That would be amazing. Sorry,
cool.
I've still got Metroid on the brain. Super Paper Mario on the Wii.
I've never played the Paper Mario games.
Oh well, Super Paper Mario is actually really cool. It's like it's a platformer. With some of the same like RPG elements, but it's actually like, you step on enemies and hit them with hammers and stuff like that. But it has that same kind of 2.5D element where you start on a 2D plane, but for some puzzle elements or something, you have to shift the world in 3D and then like walk through the background or something. But in that, it's actually a mechanic. It's not just like the way the game is built. So it's probably a little more natural, but
I think it's just because like it still has that old style, so you're kind of expecting that. But then when it does the 2.5D, they're still flat. They're still flat characters. They don't really fit in that kind of aesthetic, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Unlike Paper Mario, which they're made for that, right?
I'm just saying, I'd play a Paper Mega Man game.
Yeah, go ahead, play 2.5D. Let me know what you.
I mean, really, I want a new Mega Man game, so that's I'll take.
I know, right? That Mega Man game will never get. Damn you, Capcom.
Mega Man Legends 3.
Ah, Mega Man Legends 3.
I have a poster behind me for Mega Man Universe that never came out.
Oh.
It's signed, too. I don't even know who signed it. It's just someone that was at the fair that was handing them out.
We should just do a podcast on how sad we are about canceled games.
That might be kind of sad, though. Like, I might, legitimately just be sad the rest of the day if we did that. I've been playing, well, Paladins as usual. They just announced a new champion actually, so that should be pretty cool. Really, this new champion, they're really, all about movement speed, so she can double jump. She like has like throwing knives, and yeah, she looks pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to trying that out once they implement her into the game. Other than that, I've actually been playing Payday 2, which is it's a pretty fun game. Once at first it was kind of sucky because I didn't have anyone to play with. So playing that game alone it's not the best because the AI is kind of stupid. Like they'll shoot at the cops and stuff, but they won't like pick up the money bags or like help you actually do the objectives. But actually, I played a little bit with my brother and a couple of buddies of mine. Pretty fun game. And, it's kind of interesting because they have like a ton of DLC for it, but a lot of it is like, they're like missions that are like heists from like popular movies and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I think they have one from Heat, and I think they just added Scarface DLC. So I don't know, pretty cool game. So it's kind of like it makes me think of Left 4 Dead kind of in a way, only with like cops.
Same studio, I think.
I think so. Yeah. But yeah, cool game. It's really fun to play if you ever get the chance to try it out. Payday 2, pretty fun game. Other than that, yeah, those are pretty much the two I've been playing. Paladins, Payday 2, and Path of Exile. Just games that start with P. For some reason, I don't know.
You really like to pee with your game. Okay, I'm just going to show myself to the door. I'm not even committed to that joke.
I put the P in PC gaming.
There you go.
Something, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
We'll take that take.
Cut that other crap.
Let's keep it PG, everybody.
Justin, you just been playing Final Fantasy?
How'd you guess? No, I have actually, but I have so little time to play anything, and like that game's way longer than I thought it was apparently because
it's a long game.
Like I got toward the end game stuff, like where you're recollecting the party and everything like that. And I've actually been using a guide because I don't remember that. Like, I am almost certain I've gotten to the end of that game. Like, I remember the final, like, Kefka battle and everything. But I don't think I actually got any of the party members the last time I played it. I think I just, like, went to the end. Or I possibly was playing on a ROM, and so I just used, like a save state that got me to the end because I was curious. That's actually more likely, knowing Kid me. Yeah, so, like, I've actually been going through all this end stuff and using a guide and, like, doing it legit, like getting all the secrets and everything like that, and it takes a long time. The end of the game is super hard, so I gotta really do some grinding and stuff like that. So the other night I was just like playing without recording for like 3 or 4 hours, literally just like grinding my party up to like the level 50 or so, and watching all the CW shows that I had missed during the week. So that was kind of nice, like multitasking, have like a show on one screen and then play the game on the other, just like going through battle after battle, not really paying attention. So I've been watching more stuff than I've been playing.
You've been watching Flash, Arrow?
Yep, all of them, actually. I had stopped Arrow last season because it just kind of got boring, and then like I heard there was some stuff with Black Canary, and I kind of checked out. But then they kind of did like a soft reboot this season with like a new team he's training and some
really?
better some better storylines. I've actually been enjoying it quite a bit now. And they brought in a new Black Canary in this episode, which was interesting. I kind of like her, actually. She's not bad.
Cool.
And then I had watched about half of the first season of Legends of Tomorrow. I liked it, but I was watching it at my job at the time, and I couldn't watch things there anymore, so I just never got caught up on it.
That's that show where they're all together, right?
Yeah. And it's kind of like the wacky, just like time travel fun show.
Yeah.
And it's pretty enjoyable, actually. Like I just kind of picked up at the second season rather than like going back and watching all the stuff I left off. Because again, they kind of retooled the cast a bit and kind of found their tone. I like how this is the What Are We Playing section. I'm talking about shows, but whatever.
Whatever. It's our podcast, right?
And so I'm enjoying it quite a bit now. It's really campy. It's just a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun of all the shows, especially as Flash has kind of gone into a darker tone recently. And then Supergirl is probably like the lowest of the four, partly because like I watched on the CWTV.com site because they stopped putting them on Hulu, and for some reason Supergirl never streams well. Like it gets really choppy, and like I'll have to restart it like 3 or 4 times So I have a hard time
because they're
getting into the
forcing you to
episodes.
watch it on their network.
Yeah, but I don't have a problem with any of the other shows on there. It's like, it's just Supergirl. Every week I have issues. I'm not as into that one, but I still like the cast a lot, and it's got some good stuff. And then, like, there's a musical crossover coming up with that and Flash. So I'm really curious about that. And, you know, both of those
That's
leads are,
very
like,
CW.
are Glee alums and have amazing voices. So it'll be really cool to see what they do. Along with, like, Jesse L. Martin, who was on the Rent cast. So he's, like, Broadway trained and really good, and has sung on Flash before. And so, like, that should be really fun. They're bringing in the Music Meister, who's, like, this, like, one-time, like, music villain from the Brave and the Bold series. And in that, he was voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, so he kind of has, like, a cult following. And so when they heard they were doing a musical episode, it's like, I wonder if they're going to bring back Neil Patrick Harris as the Music Meister. And they're doing one of those things. It's not Neil Patrick Harris, which I didn't expect. But it's Darren.
I figured he wouldn't be able to say no. You know, he was like, I need to sing, I need to dance.
He's doing pretty well right now. I mean, he just finished a series of Unfortunate Events, so he's kind of, you know, he's riding everything. And he did, like, the theme song for that show. So he's doing plenty of singing. They got Darren Criss, who's another Glee alum and really good. Yeah, I'd say, though, in general, those shows are firing on all cylinders right now. So
Nice.
I'm really glad I can keep caught up and, you know, still do the things I need to do without, like, sacrificing one thing for another.
Yeah, I used to watch all those shows, but I just fell off at some point, and I was like, I'm not gonna bother trying to download these shows again.
Yeah, I'd say if there's one you should keep up on, it's Flash, or maybe in your case, Legends of Tomorrow, because they go through all the different time periods and stuff, and you kind of like history. Like they just did one on...
I did study it for 2 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They just did one about George Lucas, and it was really funny. Like,
That's pretty cool.
George Lucas's influence on, like, the smart people of the crew. And, like, if he doesn't, like, make movies, how it affects, like, their career choices. And it's just a nice little, like, homage to George Lucas, which is pretty cool.
So that has been our Charge Shot TV corner.
I would totally rant about these shows if someone wanted to hear.
Our transition into topics of this week, we have speculation in the media. Now, this one comes from Justin over here.
Yeah, so kind of a growing trend that's been annoying me lately. Just with with the era of the internet, how anyone can say anything and, you know, make it spread like wildfire. A lot of outlets lately have been just like jumping on any small rumor about anything and, you know, speculating about that thing, which then gets picked up by other news outlets saying, well, this, you know, like well-known news outlet said this, so it must be true. And then before you know it, it's like, a game is confirmed that isn't even in development. And so the first thing that kind of stood out about this recently was Skate 4, which is not in development, just to start that off. We are not speculating. But one of the employees of EA just put out a tweet that said hashtag Skate 4. Like, that was it. No context or anything. Apparently he's done this before, just like every few months. And I would assume personally that it's to gauge interest. Like he, you know, puts that out, sees the kind of like response it gets, and then they judge that of whether or not to bother putting any time or effort into making a Skate 4. That's my assumption of that. I would not think, oh, you know, are they making it? Whatever. But multiple outlets. I think this is, I saw it on Kotaku. It's also on various other sites.
Yeah, when I tried to search for it, it was mostly people just saying that it's not confirmed and not the speculation article itself. So I couldn't find anything on that.
Right. Well, I think some of them have probably been pulled down since since EA specifically said that it's not in development. But the day I found it, I believe the first place I saw it was on Kotaku, but I might be wrong. It's been a week or so since then. Basically, they said, you know, an employee close to EA tweeted out Skate 4. You know, does this mean it's in development? Like, some sources were even, like, putting in their title, you know, is Skate 4 confirmed? Just based on this information. And I'm sorry, but that is dumb. Like, sure, it's a clickbait headline. I get that you have to do that kind of thing to stay relevant. But people listen, and they spread information, usually false information, or, you know, alternative facts, as some might say. And it's just like, what's the point? What are you trying to do other than get money for you know, saying something that isn't true? I don't get it, personally. Before we, you know, get into the actual debate of it, Another example was actually from this morning, and this one's just absurd because there's a person that tweeted at Retro Studios, the makers of the new Donkey Kong Country games and Metroid Prime series, asking what game they're working on. And in response, Retro Studios just tweeted out a picture or small video or something of what I assume was their lunch, which was steak and potatoes. And so the specific site I saw was called mynintendonews.com. I don't know how esteemed they are, but I'm sure other sites have picked it up since then, saying Retro Studios may have confirmed Metroid Prime 4 because the steak was a Prime steak. Now, this could very well be a very subtle hint from sorry, I can't even get through this without laughing. From Retro Studios hinting at Prime 4. That's very valid. It could be the possibility. But
or it's just a joke.
Right. It's a friggin' lunch menu. What?
How do you not understand that? It's a joke. Come on.
It's just the smallest amount of information makes people go crazy, and it's just I can't understand why. So I just kind of wanted to know what you guys thought about this trend of making something out of nothing.
I feel like this whole making something out of nothing, it's not really anything new. But I feel like now that gaming and video games are more of a mainstream kind of thing, that it's much, much, much more common now. I feel like I always say this, but back in the good old days, before, the internet and all that crap, it was an ad came out and then it's just oh, that's all you had to go off of, But I feel like now that we have the internet and people can essentially put whatever onto it. I don't know. It's almost it's just it's either a really bad game of telephone or a really good game of telephone. You guys remember that game Telephone, back in the day? You'd start one person would say one thing to somebody else and then you'd go in a big circle.
Yeah.
And then by the time you got to the end, it was completely different message from what started.
Yeah, one news outlet
That's what I
trying
feel
to
like
summarize what another one said without plagiarizing them. And then they leave out a crucial piece of information that another outlet summarizes them, leaving out a crucial piece of information. And by the end, it's well, this site said that this game is confirmed.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like fake news is making its way into our industry now.
And I wouldn't necessarily call it fake news. It really is just speculation. But it's like I mentioned last week with with the Star Wars title. People are taking the smallest amount of information and analyzing the crap out of it to a point where someone assumes that they know more than they really know, based on that information, and then go, oh, well, they must be right. So, this is obviously true. And it's wait for the full story to come out. When Retro Studios, because I am one of the biggest Metroid fans I know. I have anxiously awaited something other than Federation Force to come out for Metroid.
That's not enough for you, Federation Force, man.
No. I literally did not buy that game because I don't want to support the series in that way. Just like friggin' Metroid Pinball a few years ago. I want a Metroid game just as much as everyone else, if not more. When they have something to announce, they'll announce it. And it might not even be them that's making the next Metroid game. Maybe someone else is doing it. A few years ago, there was, what was it, Next Level Games? The guys that made Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon? They tweeted out concept art that was their canceled Metroid game. And that looked amazing. But again, other studios have the right to make Metroid games. You can't just assume that Retro Studios is working on a Metroid game just because, they haven't made anything in a while. Mm-hmm. They've made two Donkey Kong Country games since the last time they made a Metroid game. We don't know what anyone is doing, and until we get the information, I don't see the point in speculating over it. It's fun to do, but when a big esteemed outlet does it, it makes them look unprofessional, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. I just think fans are just thirsty for new games in their franchises. Metroid's been forever. Skate's been forever. Mm-hmm. I think these communities just get their hopes up in getting a new game in their franchise that they love.
And I get that.
And they freak out over any of the tiniest news that comes out. Man, I was a huge Reboot fan. I was a huge Undergrads fan. Every time there was news about that stuff, I would always freak out over it and think that something's happening. But now I've kind of tempered my expectations. Yeah, I just become a little bit more realistic with it. Justin's I have no idea what any of this stuff is. Me and Lo are very niche in our tastes.
Yes, we are.
I like Zelda, Metroid, and Final Fantasy. What can I say? I have simple pleasures.
Now, okay, for the kids out there that don't know what reboot is,
You're the youngest one here.
but there's kids
All right,
that
youngins.
grew up and don't know what reboot is. But for the kids out there, Reboot was a CG 90s to 2000 TV show that came out, and it was excellent. Took place inside a computer.
Was it though?
Yeah, man. You fought viruses. Bob was our guardian protector.
I mean, have you seen like other 90s animated, like, well, CG animated shows?
Yes, they're terrible.
Like the Donkey Kong show?
Yes, but I love it.
Ooh, we don't. Why'd you have to bring that up?
That's my childhood right there.
I used to watch Action Man and Max Steel.
Oh,
They
Max
made a
Steel.
movie out of that, didn't
oh
they?
yeah,
Like
I
recently?
think they did. Yeah,
They made a recent one and it was terrible.
so I heard.
No one asked for a reboot of Max Steel. Come on. Yeah, I don't think mainstream media should pick up with those kind of stories though. Like Kotaku's been they've been trying to become credible. They don't need to pick up these garbage stories that are like teases for communities.
Yeah, and it's annoying to me, like as a viewer of, or a reader of these places, because like you go somewhere and like click on a news article and it's like, oh man, like there's information, and then for one it's either speculation, rumor, or just flat out like lies, and then they have to put out probably not have to, they want to put out a follow-up article after they've contacted the studio, gotten confirmation that it's not in development, like what happened with EA and Skate 4. And then that's more clicks. Like, it's all just a way to get people in the door, have them read this rumor, help their money, and then put out a follow-up, like a new article, more clicks, like advised
It's all
information.
about money, man. That's all. That's what it's all about. They make that story, drive the clicks, get the money, and then they follow up with more.
Yeah.
It's just a cycle. It's a
It's
new
just
cycle.
shameless.
And it's kind of sad if they don't do that, then competitors will, and then they'll make the money off that, and the other guys won't, right? So like, what do you do? What's the most ethical thing to do in that situation? Is I don't know.
I'm a big fan of Philip DeFranco, especially lately as like the world has gotten more divided and he's stayed like kind of neutral. And he says a lot about, like with the actual news, not, gaming news. He doesn't do so much with gaming stuff. He says a lot about, how these news outlets need to get all of their information and put out like a logical, like sound argument, a proper like article with all the information in it before saying anything. Because they'll put up an article saying like the, whatever the information is out at the moment on a topic, usually with Trump lately. When like new information comes in, they'll just put like an addendum to that original article, or they'll put out a new tweet without pulling down the original article that had the lies in it. So like a lot more people get the false information than they get the real information. And I just like, it hurts your credibility again. Like, it's just, why would you want the false information to still be out there after, new stuff has come in? It just seems wrong to me.
It's all about the money.
Yeah.
No one cares about the facts. It's all about the money. Moving from one depressing topic to a kind of a good topic, I think. I think this is a positive topic, is Nintendo's online plan.
Ah, yes.
The pricing, specifically.
That actually was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, they came out with a pricing plan for Japan, I believe.
Yeah, it is Japan, but they kind of did like an exchange rate type thing to assume it'll be the same over here.
Okay, so Nintendo Switch will require a paid subscription for online gaming, and now we have an idea of how much it will cost. Around 2,000 to 3,000 yen per year, which translates to $17.63 and $26.44 American.
This is from Polygon.com, by the way, so we're crediting our source.
Yes, Polygon. Thank you. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. They're going to be doing the free test trial at the beginning for their online services as well.
Well, they're still building it. But like a lot of people have been complaining about, the offerings that they're doing, like how that's pretty limited online stuff. All the voice chat goes through your phone. And they are like extras, or that you get, an NES or SNES game free with added online services, which is cool, for that month. And you can, pay to own it after that, still with that online service and everything. And they're like, that's not enough money if you're comparing it, or that's not enough stuff if you're comparing it to a service like PS Plus or Xbox Gold, Xbox Live, whatever it's called. But if this is the price of it, I think that's pretty reasonable. Just to basically pay for their servers and give, a bit of free content every month.
Yeah, I think as far as, well, I've never really been a fan of paying to play online, but I mean, as long as the money for the subscription goes towards supporting the servers, as long as it actually does that and, goes towards making the service better, possibly, potentially down the road, then I feel like $30 is fair for a year. $30 for a year of online play.
That's less than $30. It's closer to like 20 or 25.
Yeah.
So basically like $2 a month for Nintendo's online services. And again, even if you don't get to own that game, like $2 a month to rent a game, essentially, plus the other stuff you get is not bad at all.
I thought like the whole part making it kind of like, at first when I read the part about having the game be limited to just that month, I thought that was kind of weird at first, but then I was like, oh no, I kind of, because it kind of gives in like sort of an allure to subscribing, because it's like, oh, subscribe and you can play this cool NES game this month or this Super NES game this month. I thought it'd be pretty cool. And then, in a way, it's kind of a good thing because then, who knows, maybe somebody who's never played a certain game before is like, oh, this game's cool. I actually would like to buy it, like maybe they can, get it on the Nintendo Virtual Store or something like that. I'm not sure.
And probably for a discount during that month. It's just kind of a promotion deal.
Yeah. Instead of like a free weekend, it's like a free month. Or it's included, like the game is included for that month or whatever.
A lot of people have been saying that they wanted to see from Nintendo like a subscription-based model for their back catalog, right? This kind of offers a tease to that. And if it becomes successful, maybe they'll actually open it up a little bit more so that you actually can just pay that subscription and get the games a la carte or like they have right now per month. It's a pretty neat idea.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at how the Xbox and PlayStation programs have kind of evolved over the years, they started out pretty simple too. But also they've, gone up in price over time. Like PS Plus just had an increase of like 6 months ago or something like that. So, I mean, as these services grow, they get more expensive, obviously, but you have to start somewhere. And I think it's a pretty solid start. Because a lot of people think that the way this Nintendo program works is like, oh, well, I'll get to like play the like Mario Bros, like the original Mario Bros for free for a month. Like, everyone knows that game, but like, not everyone does. And I mean, if they're catering the Switch towards families, some of these kids might have never even heard of the original games that are being put on there, and they wouldn't buy them on the Virtual Console because they don't have that nostalgia for it. So if you put a game on there...
And they're adding the online capabilities, too, to their previous games. So, like, if they have, like, the first Super Mario Kart on there, that'd be pretty damn cool. Yeah, I was going to use that as
an example, actually. Like, picture some of these games that people might not have played.
That would be neat.
And being able to, get, three of their friends online on their respective Switches and play them online together, like a game that's never been available online. That's a game seller. Like, if you, look at the original, like you said, the original Mario Kart, I kind of wanted to do, like, a little collab of that, like, with some people online, just through, like, a ROM and net play, but it's always kind of spotty with the latency and stuff like that. Like, if I could do that on the Switch, I'd buy that. I wouldn't even wait for the free month. I'd buy it. So, like, if they can have those kind of ways of, like, convincing people to pay for games they might not have bought otherwise, and you're still only paying, like, $2 a month for it, I see no problem with that. If it was the price of, like, PS Plus or something, yeah, that'd be a bit of an issue to only get that stuff. But especially, again, if they put it at a discount for that month as, like, a, like, which they should do if they're saying, hey, here's this game for free. If you like it, you can buy it, at, like, 20% off or something like that. I don't think this is a bad thing at all.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even think about the adding net play to the classic games until you mentioned it just now. That would definitely be, like, a game seller for sure. It's like, oh, play your favorite classics, but now you can play online with your friends. It's not just limited to like that living room, like couch co-op or, type of experience. So I think if they do something like that, that can definitely bolster their, this new, offering that they have for sure.
And they did announce online play, like at the conference. I'm not speculating about that or anything, which for the record, I am a little bit concerned about the translation of some of this stuff, because for one, their live translator was terrible, but also, some things just might not come across the same way. Like, if they're saying, you rent this game for a month, essentially, that might not have been accurate, or like, how the online play works and stuff like that. Like, they've confirmed some of this stuff, like the phone voice chat, which
is a whole different issue.
Yeah, it is. But some of the stuff was only said during the conference and hasn't been brought up again since. But everyone's been talking about, how it is, so there's people, again, assume that that's correct. Until I see something, like, in writing from, like, Nintendo of America or something, I could assume that there might have been translation errors with that. Like maybe, they're saying you get a game a month, not you get a game for the month.
Okay, I see.
And that could change things. But again, I'm not speculating. I'm just saying that it's possible that there could have been a translation error, and we're wrong about that, and have been talking about things in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure they had that stuff locked down.
Okay, so you mentioned the app, right? That's something that we didn't talk about in our first episode with the Switch news, was that all the online interaction is going to happen through an app. I have no confidence in Nintendo to pull off an amazing online experience just because of their past experiences. I am open-minded, of course, but this app thing, I don't know about it. I know they've been working with DNA. I don't know who's making this online app for their online experiences.
Yeah, I mean, my fanboyness only goes so far. Like, I'm still somewhat hesitant about the app, but I also don't really care because, like, on PS Plus and stuff, how many people really, like, party up and play the game that way? Like, especially
I think a lot of
the
people
average
do.
gamer might. But if they have another option, they'll still use it. It's not a big deal.
I think most people party up now, especially with your friends. Like when I used to play Call of Duty every day, that's how I would do it with the Xbox. I just go into a party, and we just play. We wouldn't listen to anyone else talk because fuck them. They're other people. Who wants to talk to other people?
Well, I'm just thinking, like, from an accessibility standpoint, I understand it. Because if you can do all of your chatting through your phone, which, again, people are arguing, well, I would just use Discord or something.
Just use,
But not everyone knows about those.
Right.
The casual gamer, like, if you're wanting someone that can just pop into a game and play, their phone already has, a mic and a speaker in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just use that by default. You don't need, like, a headset attached to your system or anything. You don't need third-party software, all this stuff. Like, it does simplify the experience. And I understand that. But I also think that it should be an option, not the only option.
Yeah.
I think you should still be able to, plug in a headset or whatever you want through the system.
That's
and
what
do it
most
that
people
way.
do is they plug in headsets, especially since controllers have a microphone or a headphone jack. They can just plug in their earbuds and use those like as the microphone and the headset. You don't have to go out and buy a Microsoft only or a PlayStation only headset anymore.
Right, and that's where I have issue. I'm not saying I don't like their way. Like, I like that they're having the option of the phone app. That's smart. But they should also have a system option too.
Yeah, I'm just hesitant on what they're going to be doing with this thing.
Yeah, it's when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But then I kind of started thinking about it a little bit, and I was like, maybe they did this to save on bandwidth or something. I don't know. Like, maybe they have some reason behind it, so that way, like, I don't know, so that way the voice chat isn't interfering with, like, the actual gaming experience. They're trying to have that sort of online gaming experience be the best it can possibly be until they can figure out a way to make it work better or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but I'm very curious to see how they're going to pull this off, and I'm also curious to see how well it works, like, function wise. And also I'm just curious to see, like, what kind of capabilities will be implemented into it. Like, is it just voice chat? Like, will you be able to, like, actually, like, chat with people? Will you be able to, like, share screenshots and stuff? Like, will it be like kind of like Nintendo's version of Discord? Like, I don't know. I'm really curious. I'm really curious to see what they have in store for us with this online communication sort of app.
I just hope it's better than their Miitomo app, because that thing was slow as fuck. God damn. That's the only reason I'm not using it anymore.
That's why I don't like mobile games. For one, you can't do anything else while you're in an app like that, and I multitask too much on my phone.
Yeah.
To have it, like, locked up by a game. But also, like, what are you supposed to do while it's waiting? Usually, like, if a game is loading, I'm on my phone.
Exactly. There you go. Speaking of online things and apps and stuff like that, Battlefront sequel released this year with a campaign mode.
Yes. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't played the new Battlefront, but I've seen lots of reviews and stuff on it. And just from the gameplay and everything, from the get-go, it just seemed like, oh, this is like Battlefield with Star Wars paint job. Neat.
It was a really cool game. You're not wrong in that.
Yeah.
It played really well. I had a few solid hours of enjoyment from it, but there wasn't really too much there to keep bringing me in, especially since I didn't have anyone else playing it with me at that time.
I see. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the original Battlefronts 1 and 2. I still play 2 from time to time, actually. It's fun. It's a fun game, even if it's just you're playing against like the bots or whatever, because it's like they captured that like kind of massive sort of like battle scenarios, those battle scenes, they captured those really well. And, kind of side point, after, the new Battlefront came out, EA's Battlefront, then I heard about, there was leaked footage of Battlefront 3, which had been canceled for some reason or whatever. And yeah, it was like, it looked so cool, you guys. Oh my gosh. Like you could literally like hop into like a vehicle and then like you can be like on a planet, then you can take off and like you be in space. You can like go from like ground to space. I remember seeing like that seamlessly. Footage. It was nuts. I was
blown away.
Like I was like, oh my gosh. Like I wish that this could have like been like a thing. So I don't know. I feel like, EA is trying to kind of, make up for the fact that they just released a multiplayer only game essentially for like a full price. And I don't know, I'm just I've been gaming for a long time, so I'm the kind of person, I'm just kind of like, well, okay, well, I need to see it before I can believe anything, like hopefully they can, make a great campaign mode and include all of like the past content and, some, the new content too. I heard, I think it was in this article from PC Gamer that, they were intending on including, like scenes from Rogue One, from, Force Awakens, stuff like that, so that.
They added a couple maps to, the Battlefront that came out from EA.
Mm-hmm.
Not Rogue One, episode 7.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember these Star Wars episodes.
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. They had some maps from that movie into the game, which is pretty cool.
Cool. So that's neat. Just based on the fact that, as the new movies come out, you can look forward to more content for these games. I just kind of hope that they kind of look at the previous Battlefront games and just, I'm not saying completely change everything. I'm just saying just kind of like tweak it a little bit. Kind of make it kind of appeal more to those the nostalgia players who play Battlefront 1 and 2 back in the day. But again, we'll just have to see what they end up doing with it.
Yeah, well, what you really need with any online only game is you need the community to be there. If you don't have it, then it'll just tank, like they had with the first Titanfall.
Mm-hmm.
That was an online only game, and it played amazing. I love that game. But the community died over time, and to make up for it, they gave out the season pass for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the sequel, they actually added on a campaign. A lot of people love it. I'm still playing it. I'm quite enjoying it. They do a few things to the first-person shooter that kind of evolves it a bit, like giving you dialogue choices.
Nice.
And stuff like that. I still enjoy that. But yeah, it seems like these games, multiplayer online only mode doesn't seem to work. But yet it's able to work for something like Overwatch, which is weird.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, some people can do it and pull it off, and some people just can't. I think the main reason why it wasn't super well received with Battlefront is just because the campaign mode was already there before, and that's just kind of something that I feel like they kind of like took that away. Whereas with Overwatch, it's like there was never like a campaign mode or like story mode or anything other than the multiplayer to begin with. So people are like, oh, yay, Overwatch, Blizzard, woo.
And they also put out all those character videos for up on YouTube for everyone to enjoy as well,
right.
For getting their story elements in.
Those are really cool, actually. I watched all of those, and they're actually really neat. It made me want a story mode in Overwatch. It seemed pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm honestly pretty excited that they're coming out with the campaign mode. So I'm anxious to see what it is, what they come up with.
I think when you get something like Star Wars, people want a campaign.
Yeah, you want to be a part of that story,
Like they want to live in that Star Wars universe
Mm-hmm.
and like see a new story, a new take on things.
I personally have nothing to add because I've never played any of these games, but I do think that every game should have a campaign mode. Like, even if it feels like an afterthought, I don't play games for online multiplayer. I'll do that sometimes if it's fun. Like, I used to love, like, Halo, but I never really played it online. I would play it with friends online, like, if they, were playing with me. But I wouldn't just, like, go online and have that be my main focus.
Right.
But I also sucked at the campaign of that, so it's not a very good example. But in general, like, I play a game for, like, the immersive experience, not to be trolled online by 12-year-olds and be told that my mom's fat or something. Like, I don't find that fun. So it can have an online mode, that's fine. But if that's the only focus, I personally am not going to play it. Like, I did get Titanfall because one of my friends wanted to play with me, and we thought it would be fun. But then again, like, the online community was so toxic that we didn't play much because we couldn't just play me and him. Like, we couldn't do, competitive one-on-one. It was always like you team up and then play online against random people. And that's not fun to me. So, I don't know. I'm glad by this news. I'm still probably not going to play it because the only time I've even, like, tried these games is, I think, a PSP demo of Battlefront 2 or something like that.
Battlefront 2
whatever
was pretty
other
cool.
PSP exclusive one there was.
I had the PlayStation.
I just didn't really like the playstyle.
No, I had the Xbox version of Battlefront 2, and the part that I really enjoyed, and they don't do this anymore in online games, but you join a side, and they had a chess match type of deal. So, like, you fight for control of an area, and then if you win that area, you move on. I thought I love that type of stuff because it gives you purposes for a clan. It gives you purpose for trying to actually, like, work together as a unit and control the Galactic Empire. Like, I think that stuff is pretty awesome. And I haven't seen anyone do it yet.
Yeah, I think that is kind of key to a good, like, online shooter. Not necessarily online only, but online shooter. Because you said, like, somehow Overwatch makes it work. And again, I've never personally played Overwatch, but I know a big part of it is, like, the different characters that you can play and, like, how those characters work together as a team to achieve a common goal. Whereas, like, in Halo, for example, everyone's pretty much in it for themselves. Like, you don't get a lot of people like, okay, go use this ability because, like, everyone's the same. You all have, pickups on the field, but everyone's pretty much the same. So it's all just like, haha, I killed you.
Also, to build on top of that is that Overwatch works because they actually have personality in the characters that you pick as. And then so fans go and make comics and make videos about it. Blizzard makes videos about it themselves to further the characterization of these characters.
Yeah, you get attached to them. It's not just like playing as random grunt number 3 that's got 30 frags. Cool.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed objective based modes in online shooters. It's the only thing that really keeps me playing. Like, for example, Paladins, it's objective based. You capture a point, push the payload. It's very similar to Overwatch. And I've always enjoyed that more than just shoot, kill the other team, get all the points. Because, first of all, I'm not that amazing at first-person shooters. Like, I'm okay, but, like, I'm not, like, gonna be, like, 50 kills, 0 deaths, like, anything like that.
That used to be me. I used to be that kind of player.
I've never been that kind of player. So any chance I get to play the objective, even when I played Call of Duty back in the day, I always did the domination mode where you'd have to capture and control, like, the 3 points, and, whoever, like, racked up the most points after having the capture points under their control, like, wins, that kind of thing. So
that's a thinking man's Call of Duty, is those game modes.
Yeah.
Like search and destroy and the capture point ones. Yeah.
Most people don't want to think when they play Call of Duty, though. They just do.
I love me a good old team deathmatch, and I love the Modern Warfare 3, which is the least popular of the Modern Warfares.
I like Modern Warfare 3.
So, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people seem to hate it for some reason.
Yeah. I
used to dominate.
My favorite thing is when people play those, like, competitive modes as if they are, normal, like, deathmatch. Like Splatoon, for example. That's very, like, objective based. Like, clean, fill all the field in your color. And those people that just go around shooting. Like, they're just snipers up on a post. Like, they do nothing to help the team except to, I guess, technically prevent you from
dying,
from covering the field. But, like, they don't understand the point of the game. They just want to kill people.
That new Splatoon map, they don't have that support where it shows you the map on the screen, right? Because that's what was the whole big point with Splatoon. The first one was to have the gamepad holding it, and you can see what's going on.
You can hit, I think, down on the directional pad to pull up the map, but I never looked at it.
Oh, really?
At the end, I would, like, pull it up and be like, oh, cool. Like, I wonder who's going to win, because it's pretty close.
I thought that was the whole point, so you can see where you need to support your team. Was this?
I'm sure it is for good players, but
I gave you too much credit. I'm sorry.
I mean, like, when you're in the game, like, you spend so much time in, like, a pretty select area, just, like, cleaning, or not. Why do I keep saying cleaning? Just, like, inking.
You need a third person that cleans up the mess while you're while everyone else is trying to dirty it up. Right? There you go.
That'd be a fun gun. Like it wipes the field entirely clean instead of like, doing your color.
Exactly. There you go. Nintendo.
Change up the whole
Nintendo,
game.
get to me. I have good ideas. And finally, we have GameStop's Circle of Life program, the program that makes the employees lie to customers.
Otherwise known as GameStop. Stop.
GameStop, more like lame stop.
Oh.
Drop the mic. The invisible mic. I won't drop this one. I need this one.
Okay, so this is an article off of Kotaku.
Yeah, this is actually a really good, like, in-depth article. I really appreciate it.
They have this program called Circle of Life, gives each GameStop store different percentage quotas for pre-orders, reward cards, subscriptions, used game sales, and game trade-ins. Notice that none of these are new games or game consoles. Each of these quotas are based on the store's total transactions. Pre-orders and reward card subscriptions are based on the number of transactions, while used game sales and trade-ins are based on total dollar transactions. So basically what this entire article is boiling it down to is that GameStop employees want you to do something with their products and not the products from the developers, the publishers, or anyone else that's outside of GameStop.
But the kicker comes in when, it's all well and fine to have quotas. I've been a salesperson. I get that, you have to sell stuff.
We've all been there.
But yeah. But the kicker comes in when they turn away customers that want to buy something new. Basically, like, for the example they use in the article is if a game is on sale, like a new game is retail on sale for like $30, and they have that same game used for $55, they'll tell them they don't have the new one in stock. So either the person buys the used game, which who would do that? There's probably another store within a few mile radius, or they leave without buying anything. So what gets me about this is they could make a sale. Like, the new game, they still get a cut of the profits, or else why would they sell it?
Exactly.
It's probably a small cut as opposed to like the, almost full profit from a pre-owned game. Because if they, buy that game back at like $20, put it up at $55, they're getting $35 worth of profit. Whereas on a new game, they might get maybe, $10, let's say, just for selling that license that they have in their store. A much smaller markup, basically. But instead, they choose to take no sale, because all they're seeing is the percentage of that quota being altered by the new game or new console. So if this actually gives the example of if the store sells $1,000 worth of merchandise, GameStop expects at least $300 of that merchandise to be pre-owned. So let's assume they sell $1,000 worth of merchandise, but, $500 of that merchandise is new. That looks bad for their quota, even though they sold $500 worth of merchandise and would have gotten, let's say, 10 to 20% of profit from that merchandise, as opposed to selling, $500 worth of merchandise, but 100 of it pre-owned. That still fits into that quota better, but they've made less profit from that total. Which, I know, it's a lot of numbers. But basically what I'm saying is it's a dumb program for dumb people. And don't shop at GameStop. Drop the mic.
What this actually does is it drives the regional managers to fight against each other, the store managers to fight against each other, to try and beat each other out in order to win some kind of like vacation or something.
Or free consoles. They do that a lot.
So it just seems like a very anti-consumer.
Oh, but here, down here it says that they're doing it to serve the customer. Hold on, let's see.
Well, they do have a pretty cool program, at least in the US. If you do buy a game used, you can actually return it within 7 days, that's pretty neat. That's like pretty pro-consumer. That would actually make me think about buying used games instead of a new one.
I wouldn't, because I can never beat a game in 7 days. I can barely play a game in 7 days.
Well, if I was a kid, I could beat one. I tell you that.
Oh yeah, that's true. To be a kid again.
Yes. Have so much time, no responsibilities.
We've been such old farts this time. But no, they'd say like this quote from a GameStop employee says that this is all under the guise of doing better for the customer and giving the customer what they want / a better value. But that's not true at all. Like, if they want to serve the customer, they give the customer what they ask for.
Right.
But according to this whole program, they basically make no. Like, as far as their quota goes, they get nothing for actually making a sale. Every sale is supposed to either have attached, some other like pre-order or a used game sale or like their credit card attachment or, some kind of attachment rate, which is pretty standard for sales. Again, like if you sell a product, you want to sell accessories with it and stuff like that. I used to work for Samsung. I'm very aware of how these profit quotas work. But in most other fields, you still get credit for the actual sale itself. You just don't get as much credit as if you would have attached things to it. What they're saying is essentially, we don't care about the sale you made. We only care about the attachments. And that's a very short-sighted mindset for a company that's about to go under.
That's the thing, right? The future of GameStop, what it's going to be. I have a feeling they're just going to back out of games entirely and just sell Funko Pops. Because the last time I went into a GameStop, half the wall was just covered in Funko Pops.
I mean, ever since they teamed with ThinkGeek, it's been a lot more like, goofy little things and like trinkets. Like I could see GameStop's online retailer continuing, but a lot of their stores are probably going to wash up because they can't handle these profit margins. It's just, they're not in the business of selling games anymore.
And they're losing out to digital mostly, right? Or online sales like Amazon. Amazon has a pretty good deal now for you Prime guys in America. You get is it $20 off or 20% off?
20%.
20%
off would be amazing.
$20 would be
20%
amazing.
off new releases within the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's
and pre-orders.
You Americans and your Amazons.
America.
Yeah, it's amazing there. So you guys get it for like what, $40 or something? Or how much is it?
A new $60 game is about $48 after the discount.
Damn, that's good. Here it's like 60 something, maybe 70.
Yeah, but we have Trump. That's my response to everything that you're jealous of.
Womp.
I don't pay attention to politics.
I think as far as GameStop goes, I feel like they're not going to be in like the gaming retail market for much longer. I feel like if they were smart, they would either just go to selling like merchandise and stuff like that, or they can even
become a hot topic.
Yeah, they could do that. They definitely could do that. Or they could
become a ThinkGeek retailer.
Yeah, or they could do something like along the lines of, I don't know, like a GameFly sort of thing. But then they'd be competing with GameFly, which is already pretty well established. I did GameFly for a while back when I was on console, just because I was over like buying games all the time, so I would just pay the subscription, have them send me. It was like I think I was on like the higher plan, so it was like 2 games like at a time, and then if I wanted to keep the game, they would sell it to me for like a discounted price, and they would just send me the case and the manuals and stuff. So I don't know, that was a pretty cool thing. So I don't know. So I just feel like I don't know. I feel like GameStop is kind of, I don't know. For some reason I can't help but think about Blockbuster. Like,
oh my god,
because
even with the kind of technical game rentals, like you buy a game and then like you can return it within 7 days. That's a game rental.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like they need to do something as far as like their structure. They need to do something different, or they just need to get out entirely and not lie to the customer. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. This is clearly a frantic, like last ditch effort to stay relevant. And I don't think they expected it to go public because they could have gotten away with it if it wasn't for them crazy kids, as they say. But now I think they're even more scrambling to stay relevant because they're like, well, crap, our devious plan was discovered. What do we do?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the article talking about it, especially a lot of managers and employees, previous and current, talking about what's going on. It's an interesting read, that's for sure.
And a real eye-opener towards the business model of GameStop. Because I think a lot of us kind of knew that they were going this way. Like, they're very used game focused. Every time I go into a GameStop,
you would always hear rumblings of stuff like this in the past. Like, people would write into certain podcasts or certain places and tell people what's going on.
Like anonymous, emails from either former or current GameStop employees saying their tactics, and they were never good. This is just kind of the worst one I've heard, at least. But like even like I forgot that I had a pre-order of Kingdom Hearts 2.8 with them, and they called me. They're like, "Your pre-order will be available at midnight." I was like, "Right? What pre-order was this again?" Like, I don't go into that store because, like, every time I go in there, they want to attach something. Like, that pre-order was, I'm pretty sure I had, like, picked up another game, and they were like, well, is there anything else you want to pre-order? And I was like, what's coming out? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, like, I forget they exist half the time, honestly.
Last time I went into one was to get my Xbox One S, and I basically just talked about wrestling with the guy that was there. So that was pretty cool. but everything else sucked in that store. Every time I go in, I feel like my soul is dying.
Yeah, they have a lot of cool workers. I just feel bad for them having to do
Right.
all of this stuff. Because, like, even this article kind of says, like, we don't agree with what we're doing, but we have to do it to keep our jobs. And that's never a good environment.
I wanted to work for one at one point.
Yeah, me
Not
too.
anymore.
I mean,
I tried. Like, we have 3 in town, and I tried with all of them like, multiple times and never got on. But now I'm glad.
hey, do you guys remember back in the day when you'd buy a new game, they'd be like, do you want the strategy guide too? Would you like to buy the strategy guide as well? Like, well. And then the internet came around. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Or like the disc cleaners.
Oh, the disc cleaners. I remember
stuff.
those.
Yeah. In the cartridge ones, but you get suckered into, like, I don't know, my dad would come home and he's like, here's this cleaner. I'm like, what is this for? It never gets dirty. It doesn't scratch.
Yeah. But now, like, it's like supposedly unscratchable Blu-rays. They have to find something, to attach with it, and it's become credit cards with super high interest rates. And
The reason why we got those is because my dad saw the way my cousins handled their games, and there was just scratches all over them, and they're all destroyed. But I was always like OCD about it. Like, I need it pristine.
Those things don't work anyway. They fill in the scratches, but like there's still a skip in your game. Like, it doesn't put the code back into the scratch.
It's not going to replace your data.
Yeah. Here you go, bro. I got you. Like, what do they expect?
Good old GameStop.
Yeah, I would never get the strategy guide because I grew up in that area where you just Googled everything. It was on GameFAQs. GameFAQs was
yes, GameFAQs.
around when I was needing those type of things. But my cousins would always buy the strategy guides, and they look pretty damn cool. Like the ones they come out with nowadays, they look pretty great.
Yeah, I do that in some special cases, like the Majora's Mask 3D on the 3DS. I got the special edition of that came with like the strategy guide, I think an art book, and like the Majora's Mask or the Majora, figure. So all of that stuff came together. Like, there was no choice. And I actually used the strategy guide. Like, I've never 100% completed that game until I used the strategy guide on it. And now I'm like, okay, I could probably do all this without the guide now. So, like, it's helpful to have.
Yeah, the Zelda guides. The Zelda guides are like collectibles.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
If you look online,
and it's a beautiful, like, hard case and everything. Like, I love that strategy guide. I didn't intend to use it when I got it, but I just decided to. It's like, I've got it. Might as well.
With Majora's Mask, that's one of those games where, like, if you were going to use a guide for any game, I would say it'd probably be that one. Getting all those masks, though, it's like, and then what's it called? The cafe quest line thing, like
it
that
was
was
rewarding.
That
To
one was tough for
complete
me.
it, but I definitely could not have done it without the guide. And I'd gotten a lot of stuff done in that game before without a guide, but there was no way I was getting everything.
Yeah, my dad bought me for my birthday when I was 7. I guess I must have been 7 or 8 at the time, because Final Fantasy 7 was out, and we got it for PC, and he gave me the game guide for it. I still haven't finished that game though, even with the game guide.
Oh man,
I never finished it.
A lot of content in Final Fantasy games. I was just thinking that earlier when Zero was talking about how much stuff there is in 6. Like, I think that's one reason. The one thing I really liked about it was there was just so much stuff to do. Like, you can like go into a town and like, there's just so much things you can like interact with and like all the people you can talk to. Like, nowadays, if I play an RPG, like more like modern ones, like I don't really give a shit about what NPCs have to say. It's because it's a lot of the time it's just kind of like filler. But like with like a Final Fantasy game, like you like talk to someone and like a lot of the time there's like usually a little back and forth between like 2 other NPCs as well. And it's, I don't know. I've always liked that sort of thing.
And they'll just give you like a 1-line guide of what you're supposed to do next. And if you don't talk to that NPC, you have no idea where to go next. And
yeah.
And they added more into the Game Boy Advance version of that game. So it's even, it's exhausting.
So much stuff.
But yeah, GameStop, they're dumb. Don't shop there.
They are. Yeah. Don't give
Buy
them
things
their
on
money.
Amazon. You get 20% off unless you're in Canada. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you're in Canada, just stick to Steam. They have pretty damn good
Yeah.
sales.
Do you guys even have GameStop up there? I thought it was like EB Games or something.
It was EV Games, but I think they've started to move them over to GameStops now. I'm not even sure. It used to be Electronic Boutique, and that was like the
That is
bomb.
EB Games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, but I like Electronic
Oh, okay.
Boutique. It sounds cooler.
It was always kind of confusing because we had that in our mall growing up. Like, it was Electronic Boutique, and it was right next to Bath and Body Works. It's like it kind of sounded still like it belonged to like Bath and Body Works.
Oh, that's funny.
Is there an electronic section?
You know, the electronic section of Bath and Body Works, obviously, like hair dryers and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, good old days. I'm like 27. I'm 27 this year. And I'm complaining about good old days.
And I'm 28 soon. You want to talk about how old you are, Rolo?
I'm old. Spoiler alert, I'm 31. But I decided this year moving forward, every birthday, I'm going to add 10 years to my age. So when people ask me next year, I'm like, I'm 50. I want to see, just to see if they'll believe me. They're like, oh, how old are you? I just turned 50.
You look great for 50.
Thank you.
No, I'm actually 31. Oh, you look terrible then.
It's funny because if I shave my beard, I'll get, if I shave my beard and go to a bar, I'll guaranteed to get carded. But like if I go just have my beard and everything, they're like, oh yeah, what do you want to drink? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's neat.
I've never been carded in my life.
Really?
I've always had, I was always really tall and I always had like a beard or a mustache or something.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I wasn't carded on my 21st birthday. That made me kind of sad. But I am randomly.
Oh.
My mom is carded more than I am, though.
Yeah, and also drinking here is like 18. So
that's true.
Like,
oh yeah.
If you're out of high school, if they don't think you're in high school, you get away with it.
These days, you can't survive on used game sales alone. Because anyone can go on Amazon and buy a game directly from another person, essentially at cost, because no one's going to sell anything at a markup or anything. Like,
I don't even know how small game stores stay in business, because we have a microplay here. I don't know if you guys know what the hell that is.
No.
But it's just like a small game store. They do have like old stuff, but how the hell does a game store stay in business?
We have Slackers, but a lot of their stuff is like retro games. Like you can go in there and find like, anything from past systems, which is awesome. And then like,
but is there like a lot of people coming in and buying old stuff? Like, I don't know.
You'd be surprised. I mean,
like collectors,
you can get systems and stuff from them. And like I've gone on there to look up PS1 games because we've got an old PS1 still.
Nice.
And stuff like that. And like, yeah, you can buy old like used systems for relatively cheap. I've gone in there to get a Nintendo 64 so many times and talked myself out of it. But then they've also got like, comics, like they get new release comics every week, and they've got like posters and CDs and all this stuff. So like, they have a market, like it's a variety market. But GameStop, like you said, they probably sell more pops and figures and stuff these days than they do actual games.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just not a market for that by itself anymore.
The last two things, like I said, I bought that console and then I bought a hat. So I bought this hat, the Zelda hat. It's a good hat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everyone can see it. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming on out to the Charge Shot Gamescast. You can catch us here next Friday if you are a slowpoke, but you can get the early episodes on Monday for those over on Patreon. Patreon.com/Charge Shot.
So if you want your news relevant, toss us a few bucks.
Thank you, everyone. Justin, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all that crap at Zero Score. I guess that's it. Yeah, I don't know why I was continuing that sentence. Move on.
Hello?
You can find me on Twitter and you can find me on YouTube. Nero the Hero.
With numbers in it.
Numbers, yeah. Just Nero and Hero. The E's are 3s and the O's are 0s.
It's super easy to find him.
It's really annoying to type, though. I need to stop having you in my projects because I hate typing the name.
Oh, you could just use letters. That's fine, too. Honestly, to be honest with you, the only reason I did that was because when I was coming up with that screen name, I was turning 30 that year. So I was like, oh, I'll put 30 in there. I'm clever.
Okay. That makes sense.
That's a little
fun fact.
So now you're Neri the Hiri.
Neri the Hiri. Yes, I have to rebrand everything now.
New Twitter account. New YouTube account.
No one will ever be able to find me.
All right, and you can find us here at chargeshot.com. You can find me, your host, Thomas, on Twitter at Tainted Kane. I don't know why I stopped. I had a brain freeze. Keep it rolling. Keep this show on the road. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll catch you down the road. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye. That's a good one. 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 That's a good